You don't belong in this family, Margaret yelled as she threw my handmade birthday gift for my husband into the trash. My son could have married someone rich, someone important, but instead he chose you, a nobody. I stood in her spotless kitchen, my hands shaking but my voice firm. I love James, and he loves me. That should be enough. My name is Isabella Martinez. I was 29 and had been married to James for 3 years. But his mother still looked down on me. No matter what I did, being a teacher, learning their family traditions, or just trying to be kind, it was never enough. She especially hated that I came from a hard-working Mexican immigrant family. Margaret crossed her arms. Love isn't enough. This family has standards. You'll never truly be one of us. Then she picked up the glass angel I had made for James and dropped it into the garbage disposal. The sharp sound of it breaking made my heart ache, but I refused to cry. Next week is our family portrait, she said coldly. Try to wear something decent this time. Before I could answer, my little nephew Tommy ran in. Auntie Bella, can we play trucks? His bright smile broke the tension. Of course, Mio, I said, smiling back. Margaret frowned at my use of Spanish, but Tommy didn't notice. Just then, James walked in. He glanced at the broken glass. Then at his mother's stiff posture and my clenched fists. What's going on? He asked. Just helping Isabella understand how things work in this family, Margaret said smoothly. Oh, and I've arranged for a stylist to pick a proper dress for her for the gala tomorrow. James hesitated but forced a smile. That's thoughtful, Mom. He always tried to keep the peace, stuck between his love for me and his mother's disapproval. Later that night, as we drove home, he squeezed my hand. She'll come around, he said. She just needs time. But it had been 3 years and nothing had changed. In fact, it had only gotten worse, especially after we told her we were trying for a baby. A child needs a proper upbringing, she had said. With the right values. She didn't think my values were good enough. The next morning, I was outside pushing Tommy on the swing while Margaret hosted her garden club. James was inside with his father. Higher, Auntie Bella. Tommy giggled. Across the yard, I heard Margaret's voice. It's a shame. James could have married Caroline Prescott. Instead, he brought home, well, I ignored her, focusing on Tommy's laughter. His love made Margaret's cruelty easier to bear. Watch me jump. Tommy suddenly shouted. Before I could stop him, he leaped off the swing at its highest point. Time slowed. He was too high, too far. Without thinking, I lunged forward and caught him just before he hit the ground. We crashed down hard. Pain shot through my back, but I held him tight. As we rolled to a stop, I heard Margaret scream. Someone call an ambulance. Tommy was crying but safe. I tried to move, but I couldn't. Everything hurt. The last thing I saw before everything went black was Margaret's face, filled not with anger, but something else. Fear? Worry? As I lost consciousness, I heard her whisper, "Hold on, Isabella. Please hold on." When I woke up, hospital machines beeped around me. James was holding my hand, his face pale with worry. "Bella," he whispered, "thank God." I tried to squeeze his hand, but nothing happened. I couldn't move. Fear filled me as I realized the truth. What I didn't know was that this moment, this sacrifice, would change everything, especially Margaret's heart. The first month after the accident was a blur of doctors, tests, and hard news. My spine was badly injured, and the doctors said I might never walk again. I might never hold my future children. I might never return to my classroom full of excited first graders. You saved his life, the doctors told me about Tommy. If you hadn't caught him, they didn't have to finish. I knew what could have happened. James stayed by my side, barely sleeping, fighting with insurance companies, searching for treatments. But I could see the exhaustion in his eyes, the weight of it all pressing down on him. Margaret came too, but she wasn't the same. She didn't make sharp comments or look at me with disapproval. She just sat there, watching, listening. One afternoon, as I struggled in therapy to pick up a small ball with my weak fingers, Margaret appeared in the doorway. She looked different, smaller, less sharp. "Tommy asks about you every day," she said, stepping inside. "He wanted me to give you this." She placed a crayon drawing in my lap. A stick figure labeled me standing next to another labeled my hero auntie. I stared at it, wishing I could hold it properly. "How is he?" "Physically, he's fine. But he's having nightmares. He keeps saying he's sorry. My heart ached. It's not his fault. He's just a little boy. Margaret hesitated, her hands trembling. No, it wasn't his fault. She swallowed hard. I've been thinking about what you did. You didn't even hesitate. You just acted to save him. He's family, I said. Margaret flinched as if the word had struck her. She opened her mouth to say something more, but then James arrived with my lunch. Mom, he looked surprised. I didn't know you were coming today. I was just leaving, she said quickly, but at the door she turned back. Isabella, thank you. For my grandson. It was the first time she had ever thanked me. After that, Margaret changed. She visited often, not just for a few minutes, but for hours. She watched my therapy, took notes, even scolded a nurse for being too rough. This is my daughter-in-law, she said sharply. Be more careful. Daughter-in-law, not just James's wife or that girl. The words meant something. One day, after a frustrating therapy session where I couldn't even hold a cup, Margaret did something I never expected. She pulled her chair close and took my hand, the one I couldn't feel. You know, she said softly, when James was little, he struggled to ride a bike. People told me to let him give up, but I knew he needed to keep trying. So every day we went outside. Every day he fell. And every day we got back up. She squeezed my hand. You're going to get back up, Isabella, and this time I'm going to help you. I looked at her, searching for the woman who had once thrown my gift away, but she wasn't there anymore. Why? I whispered. Why now? Margaret was quiet for a long time. Then she said, barely above a whisper, because I was wrong. I thought family had to look a certain way, but I was blind to what was right in front of me, someone who would sacrifice everything for one of us. Tears filled my eyes. I might never walk again. Then we'll face that together, she said. As a family. For the first time since the accident, I felt something other than fear. I felt hope. 6 months passed, marked by small victories and crushing setbacks. Against all odds, feelings started returning to my upper body, though my legs remained stubbornly unresponsive. Every tiny improvement felt like a miracle. The first time I could feed myself, hold a phone, hug Tommy when he visited. Margaret became my unexpected champion. She transformed her pristine garden room into a state-of-the-art rehabilitation space, hiring the best physical therapists in the country. The woman who once criticized my every move now celebrated each small triumph as if it were an Olympic achievement. Look what Isabella did today, she'd announce proudly to anyone who would listen, showing videos of me managing to brush my own hair or sign my name. The garden club ladies who once whispered behind their teacups now brought casseroles and offered encouragement. One afternoon, as I struggled with my exercises, Margaret sat beside me looking through old family albums. I found something, she said, turning the book toward me. There was a photo of a young woman in a wheelchair, smiling brightly despite obvious challenges. This was my grandmother. After polio, they said she'd never leave her bed. She proved them wrong. I stared at the photo, seeing the same determination in the woman's eyes that I felt in my heart. You never mentioned her before. No, Margaret admitted softly. I think I was ashamed of how our family treated her. How I treated you. She closed the album, meeting my eyes. But she never gave up, and neither will you. That conversation changed something fundamental between us. Margaret began sharing more family stories, not just the polished society tales she'd once prized, but the real human stories of struggle and resilience. She even asked about my own family's history, listening intently as I told her about my parents' journey from Mexico, their sacrifices, their strength. Then came the day that changed everything. I was working with my physical therapist when I felt it, the faintest twitch in my toe. At first, I thought I'd imagined it, but no, there it was again. Margaret. I called out, my voice shaking. Look. She rushed over, and together we watched as I managed to move my toe just slightly. It was tiny, barely noticeable, but it was movement. It was hope. Margaret burst into tears, pulling me into a careful hug. I knew it, she whispered. I knew you were stronger than anyone thought. The doctors called it a miracle. Slowly, painfully, I began regaining movement in my legs. Each step in my recovery was met with fierce determination and unwavering support from my newfound ally. The woman who once thought I wasn't good enough to join her family now proudly told everyone about her extraordinary daughter-in-law. 1 year after the accident, I stood, shakily but standing, in the Wilson family garden. The same garden where everything had changed. Tommy, now 5, held my hand while James supported me on the other side. "Ready for the family photo," Margaret called, setting up the camera. "But I'm still in braces," I said, gesturing to my leg supports. Margaret walked over and straightened my collar with gentle hands. "Yes, and they show exactly who you are. A fighter, a protector, a true Wilson." She smiled, tears in her eyes. "Now, let's show everyone what real family strength looks like." As we gathered for the photo, I realized something profound. The accident hadn't just changed my body, it had transformed our entire family. Margaret's perfectly manicured facade had cracked, revealing a deeper, more authentic love. My struggle had become our struggle, my victories our victories. Today, I still face challenges. Some days are harder than others. But now when I look in the mirror, I don't see someone who's not worthy. I see someone who proved her worth not through social status or traditions, but through unconditional love and sacrifice. And Margaret, she's the first to remind me of that. Every morning when she comes to help with my therapy, she greets me the same way. "Good morning, my brave, beautiful daughter." Sometimes the greatest healing isn't physical at all. Sometimes it's the healing of hearts that were broken long before any bones. And as for being worthy, well, as Margaret now likes to say, true worth isn't about where you come from or what you can do. It's about who you are when it matters most. I guess sometimes it takes losing the ability to stand to help someone else finally see you standing tall.